Blended Podcasts. Brought to you by Blended Audio.
Start of side A. There's a killer in the house. I hate the rain. It's wet, irritating, and it gets everywhere. I especially hate going out in the rain. But that night, the call came in late. The phone rang at 11 p.m. Since I was the only one on call, I had the great privilege of tramping out into the country. The other detectives were all caught up in the investigation of the Powerhouse nightclub fire. It was 11 p.m. and I had 7 slugs in me, 2 in my belly and 5 in my revolver. I poured another and stepped out into the pouring rain. The Gallagher mansion loomed ahead of me, like something out of a movie or one of those cheesy radio plays. A bolt of lightning flashed overhead. Spooky. I made it to the door, pulled the bell chain. The door swung open slowly, and I came face to face with...
Good evening, Detective.
Evening. It's pissing out here, let me in.
Certainly, sir.
Old money. The place just screamed old money. From the banister on the grand staircase to the marble floors, it reeked. I've got no love for those bastards. Bunch of stuck-up, unwashed...
May I take your coat, sir?
Yeah. He disappeared around a corner. Across the hall, a door stood ajar. I could see a bunch of musty old books, the kind you'd see in a cheap lawyer's office. Never read, just for show. That must be the library, where the body is. I walked over. The library was musty and warm. A blazing fire was going. On the sideboard was a crystal decanter. I went over to help myself to the contents.
Don't put that down!
He bounded across the room and smacked the glass out of my hand.
That's what killed him. The whiskey. He always liked to have a nightcap before he retired. I came back in and there he was, on the floor, dead.
And he was right. Gallagher lay on the ground, still as a corpse. Because he was one. He was on his back, tie and collar ripped from his throat, foam on his lips. Looked like poison, all right. On the ground next to him lay the remains of his drink, soaking into the carpet. Where's your telephone?
Right here in the library. But with the storm, the lines must be down.
Of course they are. This is getting more and more like one of those crappy murder novels. You know the rubbish they serve at the train station libraries? The ones not worth the paper they're printed on? Those. Anyone else in the house?
Nobody. Well, just myself and the cook. The housekeeper is off for the night.
Lucky her.
Now, I know you must suspect me.
You're number one.
But you can ask anyone.
Anyone? You're the only one here.
Well, yes, let me rephrase then. If you were to ask anyone, they would tell you the same thing.
Which is?
Which is that I am Lord Gallagher's most loyal staff member. Really, we are almost family. I must have been his family butler since before he was even born.
Let me guess, you practically raised him.
Well, yes, but I was going to say that
You were in the kitchen and the cook could attest to your every move?
No, but I can say that...
You would never dream of harming Gallagher?
Lord Gallagher. And of course I wouldn't, sir.
These butlers. They're not worth a damn. I can read them like a book. No point in pretending I don't suspect him. If you've ever read one of those trashy murder mysteries, you'd know it's always the butler. And if you've investigated true crimes all your life like I have, you'll know it's always the butler. I just have to prove it. I'm going to be straightforward with you, Mr. Butterscotch.
Buttersworth.
Like I give a damn. It's late and I have a job to do. Do they pay you well?
I am here to serve, and if I get paid, that...
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes, and handsomely too.
Haven't you ever been tempted? They'd never miss this statue, would they? Or maybe that painting over there. They have so much stuff, it's almost criminal.
No, detective, they'd notice. These are priceless heirlooms.
He calls them priceless, I call them worthless. Same difference.
I would never, never. Is this your normal method of interrogation? Insulting your suspects until they get angry enough to confess? Well, it won't happen with me.
What? You'll never get angry, or you'll never confess?
I will never confess. Because I have nothing to hide.
I knew it. Now I just needed to prove it.
It's the cook! Quickly, to the kitchen!
End of side A. To listen to side B, turn the tape over now. Start of side B.
It's the cook! Quickly, to the kitchen!
We ran into the kitchen. For the second time that night, I found myself entering a room with someone lying on the ground. This time it was the cook. The poor woman was out cold. Next to her, a steaming pot of some kind of concoction splashed across the floor. She murmured and stirred.
Cookie! What on earth? What the blazes is going on? Wake up! She's out cold.
That's what I said.
I'm going to get the smelling salts.
He left the room. I left the woman lying where she lay. I had a bigger fish to fry. I darted over to the window. Maybe she'd seen the killer, but all there was pouring rain. The rain still hadn't stopped. Everything was piss wet, and Gallagher was still dead, and I still couldn't prove it was the butler.
Detective, come quickly.
Leaving the cook on the floor, I followed to the library.
I arrived in the library, and he was gone. Lord Gallagher, where are you?
This man was calling after his dead master. I'd taken about as much of this as I could. I grabbed him by his starched lapels. Listen up, buddy. You better start talking, and you'd better make it good. Well, what happened? I slackened my grip a little. Wouldn't do to make this a double murder. Who else is in this mansion?
No one else, I told you.
Then how do you explain this?
Foul play! It must have been. A man as rich as Lord Gallagher has many enemies. One of my duties is to screen his correspondence. You'd be shocked to see the kind of men he gets letters from.
Letters? Do you mean blackmail? Bribery? Extortion?
Exactly that. Desperate dealings with desperate people. They're the kind of people who'd do anything to keep these secrets under wraps. Assassination, even.
Assassination? It wasn't unheard of. Just 2 months ago, I was on a case of a mysterious disappearance. We found the poor bastard with his feet in concrete 20 meters underwater. Maybe Gallagher had blackmailed the wrong person. If what you're saying is true, Barnabas,
Buttersworth,
then the assassin must be still in the mansion with us. It was like a light bulb went off in my head. And just at that moment, a shadow caught the corner of my eye. Everything happened at once. The movement, the flash, a coughing sound. I pushed Buttersworth to the ground and felt the air ripple as a bullet ricocheted about the space we'd been in a second before. Maybe, just maybe, the crazy bastard was right. End of side B. To listen to the story again, turn over to side A. To listen to the next episode, load tape 2.